morning and welcome to another beginning drawing class. Before we get into the actual work, I want to recommend a wonderful book that I probably read the first time 40 years ago. It's called The Art Spirit by Robert Henri. And here's a look. He was an incredible artist back in the early 1900s. I think he died in 1949. But some of his full-length portraits and things that he'd done over the years are just so beautiful. But what's special about this book, it's not your typical book. So let me just read a couple of lines here from his foreword. Many students have asked for this book, and that's the reason. The fragments, which are its composition, have been brought together. No effort has been made toward the form of a regular book. In fact, the opinions are presented more as paintings are hung on the wall to be looked at will and taken as rough sketches for what they are worth. And then he says, there are moments in our lives, there are moments in a day when we seem to see beyond the usual. Such are the moments of our greatest happiness. Such are the moments of our greatest wisdom. And this is a book basically that it doesn't have chapters and it doesn't have, it's just thoughts and feelings along the way and things that he, I'm sure, accumulated over many years. And I just want to read a couple of lines in the very beginning, the way he starts. Art, when really understood, is the province of every human being. It is simply a question of doing things, anything, well. It is not an outside extra thing. When the artist is alive in any person, whatever his kind of work may be, he becomes an inventive, searching, daring, self-expressing creature. He becomes interesting to other people. He disturbs, upsets, enlightens, and he opens ways for a better understanding. Where those who are not artists are trying to close the book, he opens it, shows there are still more pages possible. The world would stagnate without him, and the world would be beautiful with him, for he is interesting to himself, and he is interesting to others. He does not have to be a painter or a sculptor to be an artist. He can work in any medium. He simply has to find the gain in the work itself, not outside. So, the bottom line is anybody can be an artist. It's about how you approach your work, whether you're trying to do the very best in anything that you do. And so I highly recommend The Art Spirit to anyone, whether they're learning how to draw or paint or sculpt or doing anything in life. It's a wonderful book. And so with that, let us begin today's project. I have this card that was printed. It's, every year, now last year, of course, because of the pandemic, they didn't have it, but the studio tours that take place all over Tacoma once a year, usually in the fall, in October, I think it is. Anyway, there's a print shop on South Tacoma Way, just a couple of blocks from Pine Street on South Tacoma Way, going towards town. Anyway, I've been there a couple of times during their open studio tour, and this card that Judy got for me is just, it was so beautiful. And so I thought that would make a nice subject for today's project, along with this card that has a couple of hummingbirds in it. I thought we'd add that to the mix. So, beginning with the pen and ink, as I usually do, and so as things begin to open up, now that we have three different and successful ways to deal with this pandemic now, as people get their shots. Hopefully it'll take time, but things will begin to get back to something that we recognize as normal. Okay, so one of the things that I like about this particular composition is the way that it comes off from the corner, covers up a lot of the space. Now, because I'm not doing it long ways, I'm doing it going sideways, it's coming out a little bit different, but I didn't want to exactly duplicate. I just wanted to use some ideas in here that are interesting. So this particular print is just so beautifully done that I thought it would make for a nice subject. And you can get ideas from anywhere. Now this particular one, as you can see, has many similar tones. And so it's not real, what you would call colorful, and yet we're going to be able to arrange it any way we want, color-wise, as any otherwise, and I want you to do the same. I'm just giving you some ideas here, and so I would like you to do it your way. Artistic license is alive and well here. So now that I've got that edge, I can clip that back up so that it doesn't move. Give us a little more control. As I've mentioned many times, one of the real challenges here is not being able to begin from scratch and show you how I begin, because drawing lightly, which is what we do in the very beginning, it's pretty hard to do when you can't see it. And so that has been a major challenge. So by just doing a very light drawing here, makes it possible for us to at least do what we can in a video using a smartphone, and it's not even the best equipment in like a professional situation, but just doing the best we can with what we have so that we can produce something. And I give Kate a lot of credit for doing this for everybody. It's absolutely wonderful what she's been able to do during this very challenging time. And so that's what we're doing. We're just doing the best we can to create something that hopefully people will relate to, learn something from, hopefully. So, basically, here we are. So one of the things about the art spirit is basically that's what it's about. It's not about fundamentals. It's not about technique. It's about what's really important when you're dealing with creating on any level, in any subject. And that's what makes it such a special book. So I highly recommend it. It's something that you can pick up anytime. You don't, it's not something that you sit down and you can sit down and read the whole thing, because there's so much wonderful information in there, but it's one of those books that you can pick it up, read a paragraph, and get what you want for the day in terms of something valuable. So he was quite an artist, but also quite a teacher. So I highly recommend it to anyone. Okay, as we continue here, just laying out, just using it as a guide. There are certain things that we like more than others. So you take what you like, leave what you don't like. Okay, now, so we have and then we have one down here. So basically, we are seeing it come together in terms of what we're going to be dealing with here. So, very interesting shapes that mine are a little bit different, but that's the way we go, right? You'll do yours your way, and so it's about creating what is important to you. So one of the things that I relate to in terms of the art spirit, it's like when you're learning how to play an instrument, let's say the piano. In the beginning, you're just learning how to read, learn the notes. But someplace along the way, it's about learning how to make music. And that is kind of what the art spirit reminds me of, in the sense that it's not about the techniques or fundamentals, or it's about the essence of doing something well to the best of your ability, and in the process creating something unique. Okay, oh wait a minute, there's one more here. See, that's one of the things about drawing lightly. Sometimes you draw so light that you miss something. All right, so that gives us something to go on. So let us see if we can. The eraser is pretty clean, but since we've got a lot to erase here. Trying to do it in such a way that I don't mung up this paper, which is, I'm pretty sure, 90-pound press paper. So it's pretty sturdy, but still, once you get into really erasing with vigor, next thing you know, uh-oh. So there are some colors in here. So let's see. That's pretty nice. So we're going to start up here. I want to make sure my page is on the clipboard here, which I just find very useful clipboard because, and I have at least 3 different sizes. This is the smallest one, but your 9x12s fit pretty much on here. You might have to adjust a little bit, but I mean, you can pick one up at the dollar store for $1. So they're, especially when you're going someplace. For example, we're going to go pick up lunch later today, so I'll have a clipboard like this, and I like the word finds for times like those where you're just waiting in line. And speaking of that, which I haven't really talked about, that's one of the things I enjoy doing, but at the same time, when I'm circling the words, I try to do it in a way that I'm drawing as straight a line as I can around whatever word I'm finding. And so it's an opportunity to use your skills, practicing, drawing a straight line. And so oftentimes it doesn't matter what you're doing, there's so many ways that you can practice. So I'm going to take this opportunity here to do the branch. Let me get this. I feel, so that's one thing you have to be careful of. I felt a little, probably piece of the eraser that I erased with underneath. So you got to be careful there. Oh, see that? Remember that one? Well, I thought, well, rather than wasting paper, let's just go ahead and do the back of that. So that's what I've done. Waste not, want not. Isn't that the expression? So you can tackle this any way you want. I may tackle it one way right now, and then if I was to do it again, instead of doing the whole branch like this, I might do it in stages as I'm doing the other things. But right now, I just think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's one of the enjoyable things about creating. It doesn't matter what you're creating, it's what you get out of it, and the pleasure, the joy, and it doesn't matter what level you're on. If you're doing the best work that you can do, can't ask for any more than that, right? So I'm going to sharpen this just a little bit to give myself a little bit of a sharper point so that I can do a little more detail here. Again, this is the soft core Prismacolors that I recently discovered. And that's part of the joy of life too, is discovering new materials that you can work with. I've been using, as I've mentioned, I'm sure before, Prismacolors for many, many years. I really like the quality. But I think in some ways, and then there are times when you want something a little bit harder. But for the most part, I just find this new soft core to be quite nice. Okay, so put that there, I think. So everybody's going to do something a little bit different, and that's good. So I'm going to use lots of different colors because I want to give you some ideas about what you can do. So I may do these in the pink, but down below we have something different. So I had this one here. Let's try the one next to it. That is a little bit different color. So we'll try that one on this one. I mean, it looks the same, but it's a different color, believe it or not. Yeah, I think you can see just a little bit different. And then next to that is this one. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So let's see what that gives us in terms of similar hue, but different value, different dark and light. So it takes time, but you do your best work when you're not in a hurry. If you're just impatient, you'll get one thing. But if you're patient and there's no time limit, like I have here with only so much time, but still, a lot of times I'd like to spend more time getting something darker, but I don't want to take the time since I'm limited to a certain degree. Now here's, well, that gold, I don't know about that. So now this is not, shouldn't be white, but it sure is. Can't use it then. So let's go over here. And so the other thing too is, now this particular set that I got, it is 36. I think the smallest one was 24, I think, if I remember right. But it goes up to 100 and something, as I recall. And so the number of colors in a particular family, hue, is going to be so much variety, but then, you know, you're paying several $100s. So I was happy with this one. So now I think I'm going to go to something different so we can see what we're going to get from this. Now, on yours, I would recommend, but of course, do what you want, but, you know, what makes this particular card so beautiful is they stuck with a particular theme in terms of the colors that they're using, and that's very, very nice. And so, is that? So in terms of a composition, you know, I would recommend that you know, keep your colors together, probably, but that's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to give you some ideas. And so I'm going to be putting colors together that I wouldn't even put together, just because I want to create something a little bit different. I want to give you a variety It might help you decide, oh, yeah, I think I would like to do that one. Now here's a situation where we have a leaf that's folded over, or whatever you want to call this, whether it's a leaf or... So I'm going to do this one in the same color, but I want this one to be darker so that you can see that it folds over. It's part of the same. Then I'm going to go here, and hopefully turning this you can still see. And again, when you get that beveled edge, you can very easily get a nice smooth blend of your colors. Okay, I see that I want yellow stem to come down here. And then I think I'm going to use something different on this one. So we got the pink up above, and we're more in deeper red family here. The darker that we make it, the redder it will be, but I'm going to leave that like that, and then go to this next color over here, which you can see a subtle difference, but different enough. So, okay, that takes care of that. Now, let's see. Again, we have a little bit different green here. Then we have our darker green. In this case, well, maybe a darker one, but this is probably the darkest green I have. I still haven't used all the colors. which there are always colors that we don't use so much, depending on your theme or what your intention was, what you're trying to create. So okay, that's that one. Then I'm going to go with a darker one here. So by doing different colors too, you can see if you were to do this as a whole, what you would prefer to have color-wise, color theme. Then I think I'm going to go back to maybe the original one. I thought I had, so those two then are the same. I thought I picked up the first one, but I didn't. And so that's what this one is. It's a work in progress. We're learning something all the time. And that's one of the real joys of doing something, anything, creating. It's the process. It's learning how to improve. And I'm going to do this one. There's another one I haven't used. Let's see what that looks like. So as we finish up here, just need to get to our hummingbird. Because I want to just wanted to get that beak on there. Okay, then I think I'm going to go ahead and go back to the pink here. Now the hummingbird itself, there's some beautiful colors in it. And so there is but you know something? I am not going to follow what they've got here. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm gonna go so I'm gonna try to blend some colors here. Two. And then after all, it's a hummingbird, right? So I want you to either follow the colors on that particular hummingbird or create your own, or it's about creating, it's about having fun, it's about doing something different. So and then I am gonna go see what this is. I think I'm gonna go this way over here. There's no right way or wrong way. How you learn is through experimentation. And so basically you get the idea. I mean, what we have here is just something. That's all. It's up to you. Create something new. And the art spirit, get into the spirit of art, and you will enjoy your life so much more. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you very much, and happy drawing.